Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Indiana Success Happy Hour. Brian Quinlan here from Daniels Real Estate.
Brad Niccum from Nest Mortgage Group.
And we have yet another guest today, sir. Tell the folks who you are.
And Dominick Wilkins with Maxwell Park Tequila.
Not Dominick Wilkins of the Atlanta Hawks?
No, I'm probably about 3 feet shorter than him. I've never won a dunk contest ever before in my life.
You're not in the Hall of Fame?
My mom doesn't even know who the guy is.
I was going to ask that. Like, how did that, just a random coincidence?
She had a friend who suggested the name Dominic to her as her and my father were trying to figure out what my name was going to be. And she liked the name Dominic. It wasn't until years later, after I discovered Michael Jordan and Spud Webb and Dominick Wilkins and all these other great players, that I went home and asked her, Mom, have you ever heard of Dominick Wilkins? He's a human highlight reel for the Atlanta Hawks. She looked at me as if I was speaking Spanish.
It would have been funny if she said, he's your daddy.
That would have been better than the who's that?
So I'm
here a few times.
I wouldn't have known.
You would not.
I mean, that's the thing. I know the name Michael Jordan.
Did you just learn Dominick Wilkins was a professional basketball player?
I did, yes.
Okay. Well, we're just dropping knowledge here on
Also
the
watching this
podcast.
little fly run. It's
Oh, I
figure
thought I-
8 on the table.
I killed him. Bugger.
Apparently, this is very educational.
All right. Well, I'm going to start with my drink because you all are going to talk significantly more about this one. So today we're drinking a little crazy, which is quite the cool looking can.
Is that Santa Claus?
Sure. Santa Claus in a laboratory, it appears, but it is a citrusy pale ale from a Chicago brewing company, Revolution Brewing.
Oh, that's from Revolution Brewing?
It is.
Okay, I'll
Yeah,
try it.
it's pretty tasty. I like my citrus beers, and we're good with this one. So it's got more of an orange hue to it today. A little citrus.
Yeah, see that? Looks good.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right. Well,
Looks like
let's
meat.
get
Look at that
into the reason we're here.
Get that bug over there. Get that little fly.
Right.
He got it.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I'm lucky.
There we go. Quick hands like Dominick Wilkins. All right. We are here specifically for this tequila today. So let's go.
Well, we're going to talk about your tequila.
Let's talk about it.
Maxwell Park Tequila, which I've been sipping on. There's a couple bottles here that are about the same level, actually. Now $14.99. So I'm excited about sharing that today.
Absolutely.
Pretty damn good.
Absolutely. Well, I think so.
Well, you're a little
Yeah. I'm very biased.
biased.
Very biased. I have tons of alcohol on my bar, and they know don't bring me anything except Maxwell Park.
Awesome. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So let's go back. Where did the idea of Maxwell Park come from?
Oh yeah, so believe it or not, it's a really simple path for the most part as far as the idea goes. And like everybody else, I wasn't thinking of doing anything like this. I'm literally sitting in a cigar bar, and I'm out there with some really good friends of mine. Most of them are mentors, and we're sitting around having an iron sharpens iron kind of session. Just I want to say a mature dad kind of thing. Just
All right.
sitting around, good men making great men better. In walks a friend of mine from another cigar bar that I was really, really cool with. And he says, hey, man, you mind if we sit with you? And I said, sure. Where you guys coming from? He said, next door. And I'm like, okay, well, what were you doing? He said, oh, we were having a meeting. I'm like, dude, what do you do? Like, I see you all the time. We smoke cigars. We hang out. We drink bourbon. I don't even know what you do other than just be just a cool ass
You're a
dude.
cigar bourbon guy.
Right. And so he says, well, I make tequila. And I'm like, yeah, right. Like, dude, we're in Indiana. Like, this is in Mexico. You're not
right.
Mexican. None of them are Mexican. Like, come on. Like, really, what do you do? He's like, no, I make tequila. And then so he says the name of the brand, and he goes to the bar. He orders a bottle, and he brings it back to the table. Sets it down, and he says, have you ever tried it? I said, no, I've never even heard of it. Pours this all around. I sip it, and I'm like, wow, like, this is pretty incredible. Like, this guy actually made a tequila, and I'm looking at his team and the other investors, owners, and I'm kind of blown away at the story. But I did notice that the tequila was pretty standard. I'll say it that way. It wasn't knock your socks off as much as the story of them telling about how they got to that point was. So after I took a couple sips, I looked at the bottle, I looked at the tequila, and I wondered to myself, what would this taste like if it was just me? I didn't have a big team of people. to worry about paying for it. Didn't have investors. Like, what could this actually taste like if I made quality and taste the front run and not have to worry about what profit margins look like? Literally, that was the first thought that I had. That's what started me on the path to starting Maxwell Park Tequila.
How long ago was that?
That was in late 22. No, I'm sorry, early 22. When I actually started the whole process.
Is that bottle on my shelf somewhere?
No.
Is it a local owner
Yes.
from Indiana?
Yeah, you know who it is.
Okay, that's I do.
Mm-hmm.
That bottle is here.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
It's not up here though. I know, but it might be here.
It's in the building.
Yeah, I know it's in the building. I'm sure it's in the building.
Yeah, there's a couple empty ones over there, but there's a couple.
Really super nice guy. Like to this day, on speaking terms, great guy. But when he said that, that was kind of like the inception of the idea that literally just kind of grabbed me, and I just couldn't let it go because I started thinking, wait a minute. Like, if you don't have to be in Mexico and I don't have to speak Spanish and I can make tequila, like let's see what this looks like. And it went from just an exploratory kind of view of, okay, what would this take, to a fascination. And then it was kind of like, okay, you know what? I can't let it go. And so one day led to another. And I mean, it's just a whole bunch of days stacked on top of each other.
Were you a tequila aficionado, tequila guy prior to that?
Believe it or not, I would probably say no. I was probably your average tequila drinker. I was more of a bourbon guy.
Yeah, okay.
I was more of a bourbon guy. Although I did appreciate tequila spirits, bourbon was a little more of, I want to say, my preference.
Yeah.
But as far as creating bourbon, I never had a desire to do it.
Okay.
Never had a desire to do it at all.
Have you found yourself, now that I know you drink a lot more tequila than you do bourbon,
Mhm.
you find yourself waking up feeling a little better than what you did drinking bourbon?
That is an absolute truth.
Yep.
I literally have found myself waking up without the grogginess, the hangover, the headache, the nauseousness, the anxiety. You just don't get that with tequila the same way that you do with bourbon.
I hear that from Brad all the time.
But every once in a while, you do wake up and go,
Yeah. Yeah. I've woken up with guilt. Like, I probably should not have drank half that bottle.
I wonder what I said.
yeah, there's all of those. Like, at some point, we will.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So I'm going to make an assumption here. Is this your full-time gig at this point?
Yes, it is.
What were you doing prior to being tequila Dominick Wilkins?
Worked in sales. I worked for a window company called, well, I'm not going to give them a plug,
That's all right.
but I worked for a window company.
Are they a good window company?
You know what? They actually were.
Oh, they plug them.
They were good. Well, they got bought out by corporate daddy.
Oh.
And that's when things changed. But
Did they have a B in their name?
no, they don't. But they were a really good company. They gave me the opportunity to create a fantastic career. I had no reason to go out on a venture like this at all. Like, they took very, very good care of me, and my family. Like, they were an absolute blessing. So in that regard, there was no need to do this at all. None.
Did you just straight up say, I'm done with the window world, I'm doing tequila, or was there kind of a time where you were mixing the two things together?
Yeah, there was a time where I was mixing the two together, because in that type of industry, you pretty much make your own schedule. So the blessing of it is it allowed me to be able to work on Maxwell Park when I needed to and as I could. And then when I needed to go to work, I could go to work. And so there wasn't a lot of back end work tied to that job. So I could go work, come back home, and I could jump right back on to Maxwell Park.
Okay.
So that part of it, like, it really helped that I had that particular job at that time, because there's no way that you can do this and you have a full-time job under any type of normal circumstances. It's just not possible. The amount of work that goes into trying to get a tequila brand off the ground, even with having no product, it is literally almost an 8-hour-a-day job every single day, Monday through Friday. There's just tons of work to do, and you don't ever get to the end.
So I can attest that the guys I know that are brand owners, I work a lot and they work me under the team. So I can agree.
Yeah.
So let's take it back further. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up at?
I grew up in Oakland, California on Maxwell Avenue. I won't say the address because the house is still standing there and somebody lives in it. But I actually grew up on the street that is named after Maxwell Park.
And it's a place that people gather. That's why you named it that.
Yep.
Right?
I named it that because so where I grew up in East Oakland, California, it is considered the suburbs. It is actually in the hills. So you do get some very, very scenic and beautiful views of the city, the San Francisco Bay and things like that, depending on where you're at. But we had a park in the neighborhood that was called Maxwell Park. And the beauty of the park was it didn't matter who you were. It didn't matter what your religious background was. It didn't matter what your parents did. It didn't matter what your social divide might be. Nobody cared. We went to the park because the park was a safe haven. They didn't care if you were from that neighborhood or from this neighborhood. It was a place where everybody could go and everybody would hang out. There was no violence. You know, there was no separatism, no colorism. Nobody cared. They just wanted to be around other people. And it didn't matter what you were there to do. You could have been there to jump rope. You could have been there to play chess. You could have just been there just to show up and hang out. But it was people that wanted to be around people. And so the inspiration behind Maxwell Park came from that idea of reminding people of when life wasn't this complicated, when we actually just appreciated each other because you were alive and I'm alive, and we can find a common ground to connect them. Because we all have a Maxwell Park. I just put a name to a bottle to remind us of that, but we all have a Maxwell Park.
Well, you pick the spirit that brings people together. I mean,
I would like to think so.
People do shots and they're excited. And you do it at weddings. You know, that's what people drink tequila.
I would like to think so.
I like these beer drinkers.
It's fine.
So when I see people in California, I just think everybody's a movie star. Like everybody there's a movie star. So have you ever got the opportunity to meet any movie stars?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I have met a lot of movie stars. My mother has continuously asked for pictures and autographs. I'm like, Mom, I can't do that. I'm supposed to be a professional too.
Right.
So,
Oh, wait. So you met them on set?
yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
Never met any movie stars just in general. Every movie star I've ever met has always been on set.
What are you doing on movie sets?
Yeah. Well, there's a segment in my life where I decided that I wanted to pursue acting.
Oh, all right.
And he has one of those pages.
You have an IMDb?
I have an IMDb.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
Stalking your ass later.
Yeah.
Dude, I always bring the famous people on the show.
You do.
Oh man, I have met some incredible people too. Some incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So talk about that. What's it like trying to be an actor and trying to get that career started and compare it to the Windows career? What two things are the same, but what two things are incredibly different?
I'm Brian, your Indianapolis realtor. If you are looking to buy or sell a house in the Indy area, I'm your guy. If you're coming from out of state, want to make a move to the Indy area, I'm your guy. Check out the show notes for a link. We can get in touch and get you started. Thanks for watching. Now back to the show.
Goodness. The two things that are the same is that with sales, you very much have to be open to, I'm going to say, the atmosphere and the script. Some people want the flair and they want the song and dance, and they're going to purchase. Some people were like, you know what? I don't need all of that. Just kind of give me the straight facts and I'll make a decision from there. Acting is kind of the same way, depending on, who's opposite of you, or depending on the way that the writer has curated the script. You kind of have to fall into what their vision is. So you have to be very, very pliable in order to, I want to say, meet the demands of the scene. Because sometimes if you're too aggressive and it's meant to be more of a lighthearted delivery, then you can kind of destroy the scene. The same way as with sales. Sometimes if you're a little too direct and you're not personal, people get offended by that. You literally are wasting your time spending your goods.
I can see that. I think everything relates to sales, but
I personally do too.
So what's something that's wildly different than working in sales versus being an actor?
The amount of branding and the amount of brand awareness that spirits consumers have compared to, for instance, like the window industry or in sales period. Like most people in sales are looking for a good deal. They kind of have an idea of what the budget looks like. They have an idea of what they want the end result to be. They just need your product to kind of fit or get very close to fitting within this image that they already have in their head. With spirits, completely different. If all they drink is X, you trying to get them to try W is very difficult. And even if they do try it, they'll try it with a biased opinion because they still really appreciate what they've always appreciated. So they don't come into it with a very open mind at all. And the other part is there's a lot of education that has to go into spirits before a person actually even open themselves up to even be receptive to the conversation.
Somebody should do a podcast about that, Scott.
I think so.
I'm looking at the logo for Maxwell Park. It's rather unique.
Yeah.
Is there a
story? Yeah,
to
there's a
that?
story behind everything, brother. So
This cap.
yep, that
Very
crown. Initially, Maxwell Park was called El Criado,
Okay.
which in Spanish means the king. And so, as I'm talking with the attorney, and she's working on the trademark and all that stuff, and she goes down. It's never gonna fly. And I'm like, hold on. You're like, it's only been like 8 seconds. And she's like, I'm on the system right now. There's so many El Criados, it will make your head spin. It will never pass now. She says, I can submit it if you want me to, but I also know that means I just got to pay her more money when it gets rejected. And so she says, you need to come up with a different name. And so by that time, I had already decided on the logo and what the cap was going to be. So I kind of put the cart before the horse. And so I kept the crown because I thought it was just a really unique looking piece of artwork. And I was like, that's kind of dope. Like I can't really walk away from it. And so we ended up basically trashing the name El Criado, going back to the drawing board and discovering Maxwell Park. But that actually is a crown because it was literally supposed to be the king.
Now, there's something else cool about this cap.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at that cap, what's something that you see on there? Maybe had your reading glasses on.
I don't know what I'm looking at. Oh yeah, no, I
See
can't.
that little M?
Oh, there's the M. Yeah.
Yep. There's an
Yeah.
M.
So, there's a brand of bourbon out there that has different toppers that have a meaning.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Spill that one.
Yeah. So my business partner came up with this ingenious idea. He says, we're going through the process of designing the actual cap because we were having a little bit of an issue with the cap being made out of a metallic substance. Everybody wanted to do it out of an acrylic, and I was too afraid that the acrylic would break if somebody twisted it the wrong way or just a little aggressive. Said, no, it has to be metal. And so he says, well, let's not just make it metal, but since it's going to be metal, let's make it collectible. And I'm thinking, well, what are you going to do that for? Like, people are just going to take this thing off, throw it in the trash. He was like, no, we can put a letter on there and we can spell Maxwell. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, we spell Maxwell and then we can give them something for loyalty. And I was like, oh, that's even better.
Free tequila for life.
No. But once they spell the word Maxwell, they actually will get what's called the X Factor bottle. The X Factor will not be a release bottle. That will be a special signature bottle that only those who spell the word Maxwell will actually get. It will be sent as a gift, basically for saying thank you for being a loyal customer.
That's cool. And you're going to change the letter based on lot production, maybe SKU, based on if it's a repo or añejo or an extra añejo.
It will rotate all the way around so that, again, we get to have a little bit of fun with purchasing our spirits. So it's not just let's buy a bottle and throw it away, but it's kind of like let's buy a bottle and see what letter I can get, just to make it a little more interactive. Because at Maxwell Park, our whole focus is to actually be on ground zero. It's all about relationships because that's what Maxwell Park is about. It's about actually having real conversations, looking people in the eyes, feeling each other out, and having conversation is what Maxwell Park is about. So we don't want people to have a singular experience, but we want this to actually be something that's ongoing that people can enjoy together with the people that matter the most.
You know, it makes sense why Brad likes this so much. He's super talkative.
Oh yeah.
So it really just goes with the brand.
Yeah.
I talk even more when I drink.
I was going to say even more when he has tequila.
I even call people.
Yeah.
Next time people
Yeah.
drink.
And then forget that the next day because
Yeah.
there were too many tequilas.
So what was the process like going from starting your acting career and I mean, it probably didn't go the way you wanted it to.
Oh,
since,
it never
since
does.
Since you didn't bring Jamie Foxx with you
Exactly.
tonight. Like if you'd have brought Jamie Foxx with you tonight, that'd be a whole different
Or
ballgame.
our second Jamie Foxx reference.
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
our
Or the
podcast.
Rock. Or the Rock.
The Rock.
You know?
He's got a tequila.
He does.
Yeah.
He does that. And it's doing very, very well.
Yeah,
is.
it tastes like. I'd say it to his face.
I don't think he cares. That check has already been deposited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the way they make that tequila is I think he just sends his sweaty socks down there.
You
and
know,
you think? I don't know.
it's funny. I would say, you know, and I told someone else this experience that I had when I first went to Guadalajara. I was the only person that looked like me. The only person. I didn't see any movie stars. In fact, there's no resorts.
When there were
There's
short people everywhere. I don't know what you're talking about.
There's no oceans. You know, it's basically it's a city, you know, is what it is. It's a city with small towns in it, but it's not a touristy place at all. From the sense of a celebrity going there, you know, so I don't know how they were able to do all that stuff. Like maybe there's a private landing strip or something. I don't know. But I know there is nothing to do there other than pretty much work and eat.
Oh, I need to take you to Guadalajara with us. Somebody said, are you scared to be in Guadalajara? And I said, we're staying at the Rio. I'm staying
I
next
like the
to
Rio.
6 Rolex dealers within walking distance,
Yeah.
the Ferrari dealership,
Yeah.
Mercedes dealership. And so
Yeah.
it's a nice,
Guadalajara
has some amazing restaurants. Some,
Oh, and the hotels? How are they all skyscrapers?
I don't know, that one, the Rio, if you say that's, they make you walk out and look 40 some feet, 40 some stories down through some glass hole.
Yeah,
Like, no,
yeah. It's
not doing
incredible.
I'm not doing it. I didn't even get
I didn't
close
do
to
it.
my window.
I took pictures of it, but it was from 5 feet back.
I did the same thing. We met a guy there that is an agent for a lot of MMA fighters, because a lot of the MMA and UFC fighters actually live in Guadalajara. And he was there visiting some of his clients that we were talking to him about the thing. And he goes, I did it. And I said, you did? He said, yeah, I held my phone this way so I could capture it. And then I walked just looking straight at a cloud. So I didn't know I was up in the air.
Yeah.
And then I slowly walked backwards
Yeah.
and then ran.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Rio, it's beautiful there, man. Oh, it's beautiful. Weather's great. Food's great. Yeah. I get fat there.
But you know, I think some of those celebrities, they picked their tequila at home, right? So when you're working with, you know, when you look at all of them from, you know, right now under a lawsuit, Michael Jordan's tequila is now being sued. They've tested it, found out that it's not 100% de agave. It's got other cane sugars in it, just like Casamigos.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a part of that lawsuit with Diego. So when you think of how most people make tequila in the States, it's, hey, we want to make a tequila. What are your profiles? You know, well, we have these 3 Blanco profiles, or these 5 profiles. You taste them and you pick one. And what one you pick, then we'll help you design your bottle.
Yep.
They're not going, you know, the Rock's not in a field holding a Koa, harvesting a blue agave.
No, I can tell you he absolutely is not. No. If he is, I'm thoroughly surprised.
I'd be shocked.
We were the second people to ever go to the Aceves estate. They've been around for more than 20 years. We were only the second people allowed on that property to actually view with our own eyes what the grandfather had started. So, you know, when I see these pictures and of people and these videos of people out in the agave fields, I've never seen that. I've never personally seen it, and I've gone down there a ton of times. So what I really think happens is what you just said. They pick these profiles at home. You know, I did my profile there. Right. They made me fly all the way there. And I guess because my check wasn't big enough, they made me fly all the way there. And then I had to physically go through the process with them at a table to discover what direction that we're going to go in, but there was no sending of any profiles to us or to me at that point because I didn't have a business partner. But they didn't send me anything other than directions and an itinerary.
And that's the way it should be. You should be there to help develop and pick the profile that you want. Because if, Casa Maestre sends you 5 different profiles, you're picking a profile that's in somebody else's bottle too.
Yep.
It's just going to have a different label on it.
Yep.
Right. So I'm sure that they've done something special for a lot of those, actors and famous people that have tequilas. There are some like Sammy Hagar, Guy Fieri, that went to 1137 and they picked out their profile and they worked with Eduardo and Karina Rojas to make what they wanted it to taste like. And I know that Midland did that same thing with Insolito, so there's brands out there where there is a star involved.
Yeah.
But I think, you take Matthew McConaughey, which his tequila is so confusing because it's called Pantalones.
Yeah.
But in all of their commercials, they don't wear pants. So is it no Pantalones?
The other way around.
Pantalones
and nothing else.
It's just sugary.
That's exactly why I did not go with a Spanish name.
Yeah.
It can get a little confusing. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're spot on. Like this distillery doesn't have the big brand labels attached to it. So the way that, and even jumping a little ahead with the lawsuits that's going on, the CRT is at the distillery every single day. Oh, wow. This is how fascinated I was when I heard about the lawsuit. I'm thinking, how is that possible? When I say they are there every single day, there is an inspector that shows up every single day to the distillery. They inspect every single barrel.
Jeez.
They literally go through with a fine-tooth comb. That is Monday. On Tuesday, they come right back and do the exact same thing again, and it does not end. They are absolutely on their square when it comes to doing their job to make sure that there are no additives and there are no changes done to the original product. And I know that from experience.
When you go to Diego or you go to Salsa or you go to Cuervo, the CRT doesn't leave. They have offices in there.
I just found that out.
So the CRT's never gone. And so
I just found that out.
So the CRT is
for those who don't know, can you refresh CRT?
It is my favorite dyslexic explanation. It is the Tequila Regulatory Council.
Perfect.
So it's actually Cancelero Regiti. I don't know. So the CRT regulates tequila. Every bottle of tequila is going to have a NOM number on it. That's what tells you where it's made, right? We've talked about that before. And then it also has to be stamped CRT down here at the bottom. Yep. So the CRT is the governing body to make sure this doesn't have any problems and it's all done right. And it is the most regulated process in spirits.
Yes, it is.
And they do a great job at what they do.
Yes, it is.
You got to give them their due. But, they're not a government agency. You know that, right?
Yes, I do.
They're an agency that is funded by taxes that are collected from the distillers.
Yep.
So if you think about it, little NOM 1599 over here, we're doing it right. We've been doing it a long time and we don't do a lot. And then you have Cuervo going, listen to me.
Yeah.
Because the dollars that are coming from a small brand in taxes versus coming from the major brand.
Yeah.
So when you look at brands like Diego, who's creating, Casamigos and Don Julio, and so there's a lot more money that is being collected from those guys. They're the people that, from what I've seen, were upset about the additive-free alliance and people saying they're additive-free. So the CRT made it so you can't put that on your bottle. You can't say that anymore. But and oh wait, those big brands aren't 100% the agave now.
And it's unfortunate because the consumer is expecting a product that is supposed to be a representative of what you've advertised.
Even worse than that, they're calling it a premium.
And that's the other part. I don't know how a 2-year-old agave can be premium that you put through a diffuser that has not already started undergoing the fermentation process itself. So you, one, don't have the sweetness. It's bitter too on top of that. And then you use a diffuser. You don't actually use a cooking process. You add chemicals and you have to add flavor to get rid of the bitterness and sugar. That's not a premium product.
Man, have I ever said that before?
So as you listen to yourself and all that you just said, think back to the guy sitting in the cigar bar, met that tequila guy, and you're like hearing yourself say all this shit now. Like, can you even believe where you are 3 years later?
No, I can't. I can't. And it's funny though, because I think they say what it takes like 10,000 hours to become an expert, kind of thing. And so it's just been a process of learning and learning and learning. Okay, don't do this. Don't do that. This isn't allowed. That is allowed. How can you actually make a tequila flavor different? How can you differentiate yourself? So there's been a lot of I want to say hard knocks that I've had to go through in order to cultivate something that's different, because what I didn't want to do is I didn't want to give anything that's already on the market. It's like, well, if I don't want to recreate the wheel, I just want to make the wheel better. How can I do that?
So as an American starting a tequila business, having to go to Guadalajara to convince, I'm sure, one of the noms down there to produce your tequila, what kind of challenge did you have there?
It took me probably close to 2 years before I could even get that opportunity.
Dang.
COVID didn't help either.
No, COVID didn't help either. But, the way that the Mexican culture, I'm sure as Brad already knows, the way the Mexican culture is they don't care about you. It's more about La Familia, and how well you fit within that circle determines whether or not they're going to allow you to actually become a part of their family. Because, if you're rude and you don't respect the culture, you don't respect the tradition, and all you're looking for is just to make some money, they will pass you by quicker than you can blink, because that's just not their culture. You go there, unlike, in the States, you don't see a bunch of Lamborghinis and a bunch of Mercedes Benzes and Bentleys. They could care less about that stuff. Those people are
A lot more pickup truck.
yeah. They're just
old pickup trucks.
They have a different perspective than we do in America.
Based on some of the roads that are on this.
You definitely need pickup truck.
The way they treat family and the way they welcome you in so quick. I think that's why if somebody isn't a nice person or somebody that doesn't fit, they don't want them involved.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
true.
I mean, I've been playing in this for a year.
Yeah.
And to think I'm leaving tomorrow and going to stay in Sergio Cruz's house while he's out of town.
That is incredible.
My buddy Sergio. It's something that these people are so open. It's so amazing.
Some people are just that awesome, though, that they get to do that.
The tequila people are the people that are awesome. The owners, the people that make the tequilas,
I agree.
The workers in the factories, they're all.
I absolutely agree. But yeah, shout out to Catherine. Catherine, as I was going through the figuring out, the distillery part of it, I found Catherine, and I'm like, hey, I'd like to get some more information. This is very basic, surface level conversation. I'd like to get some information about starting a tequila company, and I'm sure she kind of looked at that email and was like, what is this kid talking about?
You're lucky she didn't send you Tequila Matchmaker's article on why you should never start a tequila company.
Right. And so we had a brief conversation. And she says, okay, we'll set up a time to meet over Zoom. And so we do a Zoom call. What I would like to say, she's kind of like the first gatekeeper. And we're sitting back having a conversation, talking. She's like, okay, well, it seems like you're serious. I'm going to send you some information. These are all the things that you need to do. And I'll check back in with you on such and such a date. And so she gave me a laundry list of stuff. And none of this was possible to happen. It was not even possible for me to have done by the time we were having our next call. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, I don't really know if this is going to be possible, if I can pull this off, just because it was so much on there. And so I checked back in with her, and she's like, oh, where are you at in the process? I've done these things.
I'm number one.
Have you hired an attorney yet? And I said, well, Catherine, I said, this is going to sound stupid. I said, I don't even know what kind of attorney to hire. I said, what kind of attorney? She was like, oh, you're going to need multiple attorneys. You're going to need multiples.
Crap.
And then so
trademark and a copyright.
I contact alcohol and tobacco.
Okay.
If I'm lying, I'm flying, brother. And I say, the distillery is telling me that I need to have an attorney to do this. Can you guys help me out? Like, I don't really, where do I get an attorney? So they send me a list. No kidding. They send me a list. Not one of the attorneys that I called me back. Not one. Couldn't get a phone call back. That is when I knew I was on the right path. I was like, okay, I think I'm going in the right direction because nobody knows what's going on. They're not calling me back. That tells me that this isn't something that everybody's doing.
Yep.
And it kind of made me excited.
So what's next?
Yeah. I actually no. Before we get to that, obviously this bottle is here. How
Mhm.
many versions of Maxwell Park are there available at this point?
Versions, there's only one, just
Okay.
the Platinum
Just the
Blanco
one.
right
All right.
now. Yep.
So then with that, what's next?
So the Reposado will be coming out in 26. I've played around with the idea of just jumping over the Reposado and going straight to an Añejo, specifically because the recipe that we're using for the Platinum Blanco, minus the barrel, it is so close to a Reposado that it doesn't make sense. So either we're going to have to do something different,
High proof repo.
possibly, to make it make sense. Because again, I don't want people paying more money for pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
That doesn't represent our brand or what we're about. Because again, the idea of Maxwell Park was to create a quality tequila that's affordable. Like you shouldn't have to go and break the bank to get a quality tequila that doesn't have any additives in it. But yeah, we are definitely going to release a whole suite. People
And
have asked for mezcals and Hovens, Cristalinos as
You know
well.
what Hoven is?
we've talked about ovens. I don't take notes. I drink beer. So
Is it a Hoven?
where
It might be a Hoven beer.
where could one find Maxwell Park here in
Oh.
the area?
There are now about 80 locations. I would certainly direct anybody who wants to purchase Maxwell Park in the greater Indianapolis area to go to the website because I do not commit those to memory anymore.
That's all right.
It's way too many.
Do we have it at Sobro Spirits?
Yes, we have it at Sobro.
Go to Sobro. Ask for Jake.
As for Jake,
My wife works part time at Total Wine. Could one find it there?
we have just secured a deal with Total Wine for all
Hey.
5 locations.
Excellent.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Well, maybe you'll be down on the south side signing bottles. one of these
You know,
days.
it'll be my pleasure. We got a whole tent. Jay decided he wanted to buy a tent. He can't wait to use it. I'm like, yeah, dude, you'll get to use that stupid tent.
they let you sign inside the store. You don't need
Yeah,
a tent.
But
But
he
he's
wants
gonna
to-
sleep
but he
outside
can't
waiting
wait
to
to
get in.
use his tent. He just wants to use his tent. It is pretty awesome.
Okay, we're going to set the 10 up here on November 8th. November 8th, we have our casino party. It is also a charity. We're raising money for the Hit the Buena Foundation to bring water to people in Mexico in a small town there outside of Tequila. And we're also raising money for Don Pollard's charity, Pearls of Life, which is Scott Pollard's wife that have the heart.
Oh,
transplant.
yes.
So
yes.
Scott will be here. We'll have a bunch of tables set up. Another tequila brand will be here doing some tastings. Figured you guys will be here doing some tastings.
Easy.
Fortune's Fool will be here
Love to.
sampling the whiskey.
Dude,
We got all kinds of giveaways. Tony's Steakhouse sent in gift certificates
I
to
guess
give
I have
out.
to show up.
yeah.
Siempre is sending in bottles to send out.
Dude.
Hiatus is going to give away bottles. Fortune Fool
yeah.
is giving
Oh,
away
yeah.
bottles. There's going to be a
Maxwell
That's gonna be
Park's
awesome.
giving away bottles.
whole
We
lot
could.
of giveaways.
We actually could.
Our goal is to raise a ton of money, and we'll sit right outside the door so you can put the tent up.
Let's do it.
There we go.
We'll put a heater in there.
That's right. It's November.
But we'll have you have a bottle.
That's right, it will
You
be
can have a
November.
table inside. You can
It
be
will
out
be
there with the
November.
valet people. So yeah, November 8th.
Yep.
I'm going to put that on your calendar.
Please do.
and That'll be a great time.
Please
Awesome.
do. We'd be
Well,
honored.
Wrap it.
Rapid, I am fired up that you did
This
this,
is great.
especially since this is the second time that you've come over to do it for my podcast on
Tasting Tequila with Brad.
Anytime.
Go check
Anytime.
that out. Another maybe more in-depth tequila conversation.
Yeah, we dug
Uh-huh.
into the tequila a little more. We're going to have you come back to just talk about the Hollywood thing sometime because that's so cool to me. So
It actually is.
you,
All right.
you have a little sip left in there?
No, I don't. My cup, fire the bartender. Fire the bartender immediately.
I'm not a bartender. I'm just a purveyor of tequila.
All right. Well, with that, Dom, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
Appreciate you.
And I wish you had worn the Atlanta Hawks jersey, but here we are. Thank you for watching. See you next time
That would be
on
fraud.
Indiana Success Happy Hour. Cheers.
Cheers.
His mom's got a Hawks jersey.
It's Brian and Brad, grab your seat. Real talk served with a boozy beat. Tune in, don't even blink, 'cause real estate makes us drink.